Patrick Hennessy said, will you be doing a build with a smaller lathe? Yes, I will. I already made some tiny little Teflon washers with it, but I don't think I covered that on the channel yet. But yes, it's already opening up in my mind excellent things I could do with a small lathe. And I also, because I have a pathology, bought another small lathe. I bought a little, a Unimat DB200 from 1969 that has never been unwrapped. Yeah, it's beautiful. Okay, but Patrick Hennessy has a second question. Do you prefer packages to be dropped off or mailed to the cave? Patrick, please mail them. Our Tested mailbox is findable at Tested's website. You can, even if you email our general email, you will get back an autoresponder which tells you the address for mailing stuff. Please mail stuff to me. And I say please mail stuff, I don't mean please mail stuff to me. I get plenty of stuff in the mail. You don't have to contribute to that. But if you choose to mail something to me, I would prefer you use the post office box. And here is my story. Recently, I came back after a period of time away, a few days away, and came to my shop to find something taped to my door. And I looked at that and thought there are two possibilities. One is a fan has left me a letter, and they've taped it to the door with gaffer tape because one, they know I like gaffer tape, and two, they wanted it to be taped to the door rather than just a little tape. So this is like this whole 1 foot square of gaffer tape to the lower right-hand side of my door. So one possibility is that it's a letter from a fan. Another one is that it's some kind of booby trap. Now, I don't have enemies that I know about. I don't have people actively trying to harm me, but I also watch movies, and I'm not inclined to open a door that has something taped to it without inspecting it. So I want to say, we checked the camera footage, and it was a fan and their family dropping this thing off, and they rang our doorbell, and when I wasn't here, they left this package. This is a working space. Without an invitation, I prefer you not to come by here. It's not a problem that I've encountered very much here, and I'm grateful for that because this is my workplace. This is where I spend my days working. The problem I have is that when they taped something to my door, I spent about 45 minutes inspecting this thing, trying to make sure that it could not harm me. I recognize that was a very low possibility, but still I've built a lot of booby traps for television. I really wanted to make absolutely sure what had been taped to my door did not have a nefarious intent. And I did not like spending time in that space of inspecting something that I felt could harm me. I ended up literally putting a clamp on the tape and going around to the side of the door to peel off the tape in case there was some release of something, because it was dimensional. There was electronics in there and stuff, and it was a spooky package, and I was spooked. So, long way of saying, I cast no anger or aspersion towards the fan and their family that came by the cave. I received your lovely letter. Thank you. Please don't do that again. My address is listed. My P.O. Box address is listed, and that is the one to use. All right. JMPHX asks a question. How much does being in San Francisco influence and enable your creative endeavors? What tips do you have for someone living in a bland city? Oh, goodness gracious. I don't know about tips for living in a bland city except increase your friend group and throw some awesome parties. But you asked about San Francisco. Is living in the Bay Area, how much does being in San Francisco influence and enable? So, I've told pieces of this story before. We'll gather them together here. San Francisco saved me. I found this place felt like home the very instant I visited it the first time, which is 1988. My brother was getting married here, and we all flew out from New York to be here for the wedding, which was a spectacular, amazing week. I played some pool here. And we stayed at this hotel, which is still there, I believe, called the Marina Inn on Gough Street and Lombard, the northern part of San Francisco. And I walked out of the hotel on the first day. I have a picture of this somewhere. I'm standing there in a blue 2-button sharkskin jacket, because of course, I'm wearing a straw hat, and I've got this smile on my face. And I specifically remember that morning feeling like, the light here is amazing. This is like the most beautiful city I've ever seen. And let me just tell you that if you're standing on Gough and Lombard and you think that view is amazing, you're in for a treat, because everything else is better. That's not a spectacular block of San Francisco. Not that it's terrible, but it's just, yes, you know, it's middling. And then 2 years later, I was living here. I visited the following summer for 3 weeks. And then the following year, I was already living here, and I've never looked back. I was in New York until then. I was in New York from the time I was 18 until I moved out here in 1990. And I didn't know what I wanted to do in New York. I had lots of ambition. I had unfocused ambition. I was trying this, I was trying that. My lack of focus was making it difficult to get anywhere with my ambition, because New York isn't built like that. It took me a long time to realize this. New York City, places like New York, and Los Angeles is similar, are culturally intensely rigorous cities with a high competitive level at every level of commerce and art. And that means that that rigor generates incredible stuff. But it also means that if you don't know what your ambition is, no one's going to wait for you. No one's going to make that easy. When you're a young artist and you want to get your slides into a group show in New York, that is a multi-year endeavor from scratch. You got to get you got to go to the openings. You got to meet people. You got to build a crowd. You got to get people's attention. You got to build a portfolio. You got to take it out. You got to get people interested. You got to get it's a couple of years in New York to get that kind of thing going. And, you know, certainly some people do it faster, and there are efficiencies. But in general, it's not easy to do that. In San Francisco, man, within 6 months of living here, I had been in like 7 group shows. Now, the practical result of that is there's a lot of mediocre art to go see here in San Francisco. But it also means that there's a lot of people figuring out what they want to do. That was me. And being in all those different group shows and getting different kinds of feedback from people I knew, but also from people I didn't know. I have a review of one of my sculptures in a San Francisco Chinatown newspaper in Chinese. I had to have it translated to find out that they really appreciated my take on public servitude. That feedback from outside is so important to a young artist. And there's something about this city that really engenders that kind of creativity. And I've long talked about this, about how incredible it is to me that both George Lucas and Francis Ford Coppola achieved tremendous amounts of early life success in Hollywood as screenwriters and directors, and both decided that Hollywood has nothing for them, and they came up here and built the San Francisco film industry. That's an incredible achievement, and I've long thought about those two guys and how they feel it's going now, how it's different than what they envisioned when they were young. And then recently I was driving across the Bay Bridge and I was remembering how much film work Robin Williams also brought to San Francisco. Robin Williams was a San Franciscan, true through and through, dyed in the wool, loved this city. And because he loved this city so much, he had a tremendous amount of power in Hollywood and used that power to have many, 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 many of his films filmed here in the Bay Area, providing decades of work for hundreds and hundreds of Local 16 union members, as well as other ancillary businesses that do well because of film production comes to San Francisco. This city elicits that. Yeah, it's funny. I've been here now for 34 years, and it took a large portion of that for me to not feel like I'm a New Yorker living in California. I realized 15 years ago that my kids were Californians. I was like, wait a minute, my kids are Californians. Holy cow, I didn't expect that. But now I'm a Californian. I don't desire to go back to the East Coast. This is my coast. This is my city. These are my people. So being in San Francisco contributes a tremendous amount to my creative output. This is a city, I've always thought this is a city where you find yourself. This is a great place to come figure out who you are and who you want to be and have some room to try that out in a safe space.
Thank you for watching that video. Are you as sick of the tosses to membership as I am? Good, because here's a brand new one that I recorded today and it's nice and short. There are 3 tiers to Tested membership and they all offer awesome stuff. Find out about it by clicking the join link below. We'll see you there.